What's going on, everybody? Chode Avenger here with patch 9.7 rundown. So in this patch, we're going to have a lot of small changes to items, runes, and simple changes to champions. There's 2 or 3 champions that are getting relatively big changes as far as nerfs go. I don't think it's going to shift them up anything too crazy. First, we have a Kayle nerfs to armor growth, health regen, cost increase on her Q, W movement speed decrease, cost increase on her E, and the E damage reduced, but now has a ratio. So the ratio, like this is... So we're at 20 here, and then it's 16 plus 1 per 100 ability power. So it's at best probably at least a 2% hit on her ratio for this ability. I still think Kayle doesn't have a great lane phase if you pick into it correctly, or if you have your jungle camper. She's not super safe. And then with this nerf, she's gonna have even less movement speed for her from her W, which gives her her only escape tool other than R when she's 6 and. Pre-16, I mean, level 11, she can be a champion if she's had a decent lane phase, but pre-16, this champion is still very weak. And I don't think that just keep nerfing her early game to the point where she's worthless until 16 is the way to go. But that's what we see they're doing. So maybe I'm wrong, but good luck, Kayle. Hopefully they balance you to be more mid-game oriented, and then you can have a stronger late game and a mediocre lane phase. Anyway. Urgot, passive damage decreased late, E cooldown increased early, cost increased, R damage decreased. So the R damage decrease is very small. It's 25 at max rank. I think it's 25. It's 25 every rank. Ooh. Yeah, it's 25 every rank. So if you're an Urgot player, you play a ton of it, you'll feel it, but I don't think that for the most part it's that big of a deal. I think you can adjust to it pretty quickly. The E nerf is what I think. This obviously, the hits the percent health and the on the passive is definitely going to be noticeable, but this I think is the biggest nerf that's going to hurt and be noticeable immediately. 2 seconds at rank 1, and then you don't even get your actual cooldown back until max rank, so level 9. Plus the cost increase is going to hurt you, so maybe Jungle Urgot has a little bit more trouble clearing healthily. But I think this brings him in line. I don't think this is an over nerf, but this could be. I don't play Urgot enough to have clear, concise idea on it. But I think if this nerf does over nerf him, I think this is what does it. Simple changes. Azir gets a little bit of damage on Q and some health regen. Azir needs his W range increased. He needs to get his W range increased. His cast on his W range is very short. They nerfed him a couple of times over the course of the past, I guess, 7 or 8 patches. He's been nerfed, and then he was in the meta for like a week, and they immediately nerfed him. I like Azir in the meta, but I understand he's difficult to balance because when he is strong, he's very, very strong. But right now, he just feels really terrible. He feels as bad as Ryze does in a lot of cases, and Ryze has some situations where he's playable. More so in pro play than in solo queue, but it's just like Azir's been out of the meta for a year, and he's going to stay there until they fix his range. Cho'Gath, cool cooldown, decrease. Congratulations, you can spam Q a little more on Cho'Gath. This is actually kind of crazy. Mundo got a big damage buff to his Q, 5% increase at every rank, and then also damage increases on his E, which is pretty. I mean, these aren't super substantial, but they're pretty scary when you link them with this. This makes him possibly a lane bully against other melees, and you can actually pretty consistently with Mundo, you can consistently Q farm if you want to play it super safe. Like say you get behind early from an early gank, or you're running against an Ignite laner and they just cheesed you. You can Q farm too, and this just makes it that much easier. Garen got a buff to his W passive stats. His cooldown is decreased on his W, and the duration is decreased late, which is nice on a team fight, but the fact that he gets increased in stats, it's not a huge increase, but I mean, it's still pretty obnoxious. And the cooldown, 5 seconds is a big cooldown reduction, because that's one thing that kind of makes that W well balanced, is that it's such a long cooldown. So maybe 15 makes it scary, but the duration's decreased as well late. So I don't think this makes Garen any more or less broken than he already is. I think he's totally fine. In lower elo, he just runs amok. Higher elo, he gets kited to death. Leona, I'm a Leona player. I'm happy to see any baby buffs to her. Seeing the E cooldown get decreased by a whole 2.5 seconds, or a whole, excuse me, 1.5 seconds at rank 2 makes me wonder if maybe instead of taking My third rank of W, I take the second rank of E and then max W. I might try it, play with it, and see if it is any better. But usually, if you're using EW combo, it's an all-in thing. You're not going to want to suddenly have an E back up, the second and a half earlier. But I think this could make her a little bit more reliant engage-wise, just to have that little bit of difference in buffer times. I like it. I don't think Leona's super strong because there's a lot of cases in which you can't go in with her unless your team's ready to follow up. You'll 100% die. Lysandre, cool, cooldown increase. I thought this was going to be bullshit, but this is actually a pretty substantial nerf. 4 seconds at rank 1. With the minion dematerializer nerfs and the attempted nerfs at Aftershock, I think Lysandre's still strong. I think this hurts her a lot for a wave clear early because she already has mana issues. And then she was one of the double Dark Seal stackers, so maybe she's finally in line with everyone else and isn't the most broken thing in the world. I honestly even haven't even seen Lysandre that much lately. She's still annoying when you do play against her. She still seems very strong without many bad matchups. But I think that this might actually bring her in line from a wave clear perspective, and it might allow opponents to get big CS advantages against her. Morgana, health regen, growth, decrease, W ratio increase. A lot of people are very mad about Morgana because she seems super strong after the little baby changes they made to her, the quote-unquote rework they gave her. And I'm okay with these nerfs. I don't think these are what made her strong as a support, and that's all I care about. The little bit of damage you lose on her W in lane kind of sucks, but that's really more just used in lane for a mana flow ban proc. This isn't the end of the world for Morgana. It just quiets all the people yelling about how strong Morgana is. Hopefully. Maybe you're wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Q cooldown decreased early. E stun duration increased. So you get more chances to throw your Qs as Pyke. I played a lot of Pyke. I enjoy Pyke. I don't know that he really even needed this buff. I don't know that it makes him even broken or anything. I'm okay with it though, because I don't think it hurts the meta or the way that he's going to shift in or out of it. You like this because when they changed the lethality scaling on his stun duration, it was really obnoxious because Pyke feels really bad when you're behind and you can't get anything done. And then even if you do make a good play, your stun duration is literally weakened because you're behind and don't have enough lethality for it to have an impact. So this is cool. I think this makes Pyke a little better, but I don't think it's game breaking. This is scary. So W shield for Rumble gets 10% more movement speed early. So the lane bulliedom that he has against certain champions is going to be more prevalent. And then the cooldown reduction that he got for his R here is also scary because it was already a low cooldown, and now we're down at rank 2, which is really more what I'm worried about. It's a 15-second decrease. He could throw that out every single team fight. He could drop it on a wave and then walk mid and kind of dance for 5-10 seconds and then throw it down again. It could be crazy. Sylas, health regen decreased, W damage decreased, E cooldown increased early. Again, I've said it every time they've nerfed him and then buffed him back and then nerfed him. He's not that good. He's fine. I don't know why they keep changing him. If you know how to play around him, he's totally manageable. He's not super broken. He's not super busted. It's not like when Irelia was king of every lane with their Conqueror stacks. It's not like when Urgot was being played mid jungle top. It's not like when Aatrox was being played mid jungle top. It's not like Lucian was played mid bottom every single game. He's fine. I don't know why they keep messing with him. He's okay. I think that his win ratio is gonna look bad a lot of times at lower elos because he has a skill cap and he is somewhat difficult to play. And then at higher elos, you're gonna see his win rate fluctuate a lot because in the gold to plat elos, when people have a high enough skill cap to play him, people that are playing against oftentimes don't have the skill cap or the skill to play against a good Sylas. So it inflates his win rate. Cinderhawk gets a little bit of a damage buff to minions and monsters, which gives you a little bit better clear on tank jungles. That's cool. Dark Seal lost 5 AP and sells back for less, so it's no longer super efficient, but it is still a good item. Purely for the potion duration increase, or is it duration or is it effectiveness? Essentially, you get more health back from the potions. Wit's End got a big change, so attack speed, magic resist, cost increased. Now grants movement speed. On hit damage lower early, higher late. No longer steals magic resist, but now heals on hit. So it seems more to me like they're trying to make it more of a attack or AD carry item because that's pretty much the only people that have been using it. You'll occasionally see like random people use it. Sometimes you'll even see it on like a Fiora. Shyvana's use it sometimes. Shen in certain cases. A lot of random. I mean, you see it on Wits End Jacks. You see Wits End bruisers a lot that rush into heavy AP teams. But for the most part, it's like a niche item for Kog'Maw and Varus. But with the state that they put it in here, I could see it still being used on Kog'Maw and Varus and still being good, but also on some other AD carries, maybe Kai'Sa, maybe Kai'Sa, and I'm sure there's others that I'm not thinking of. But with the movement speed and the attack speed increase, I think it becomes more of an AD carry item. It's a little expensive, but if you're playing into a heavy AP team and you don't want to rush a Hex Drinker, because Hex Drinker doesn't feel good on AD carries, this seems like they're trying to make it more of a alternative to Hex Drinker for AD carries. Eyeball collection was changed, so now it's just 1 stack per champion takedown. You don't get stacks for wards anymore, but it's the same total number of stacks. So after 10 stacks, you get the 20 adaptive force. I think 10 adaptive force. All right, I can't read. You get 10 adaptive force. They should change this from eyeball collection to like scalp collection or something. It doesn't, I mean, unless you're pulling eyeballs out of your enemy champions that you're killing, which is gross. I guess scalp collection is gross too. Ghost Poro. Your wards spawn a Ghost Poro and grant a stack of adaptive force when they expire. Gain extra adaptive force at full stacks. So it's kind of how old Zombie Ward worked, where your ward would die and then you do a Zombie Ward. Now, if your ward dies and the enemy doesn't kill it, you'll get a Poro. And it has a stacking mechanic as well. Your ward's not spawn a Ghost Poro when they expire, giving vision in the air until it's scared away by enemy champions. Wards killed by enemies don't spawn Ghost Poros. Spawning a Ghost Poro grants 2 adaptive force up to 10 times, max 20. At 10 Ghost Poro spawns, gain an additional 10 adaptive force. So if I'm reading that right, you would get 30. So this will give you 30 after you get 10 Poro spawns. You get 30 adaptive force, which is a pretty good amount. That might be the better pick for supports now. Zombie Ward. So I like taking this on Bard actually, just for the this, which was that I took away. No longer grants on-hit damage versus champions when clearing a ward. Ward clears now grants stacks of adaptive force. Gain extra adaptive force at full stacks. This is probably still good on Bard if you want to take the domination route as your secondary. Or wait, take it as your primary for electrocute. This is probably still good, but this might even be better. Clearing a ward grants 2 adaptive force up to 10 times. Max 10 wards. So this gives you 30 adaptive force as well. So yeah, I would still take this over this on Bard, I think. Yeah. And I don't know that it leaves a zombie ward anymore. It doesn't say that it does or doesn't. Gives you the grant. Yeah, so maybe it doesn't. No, it doesn't leave the zombie ward anymore. That feels bad. Cut down got a buff. Not a huge one, but apparently it's better against even tankier people. But with all the changes we've seen in this patch, possibly tanks are coming back into the meta. So that's possibly a rune that people pick, but it's almost always coup de grace. Demolish got a buff. 5% max health increase for the ratio, which can be scary late game and mid game because that's big chunks off the turret. Overgrowth got a buff. Yeah, they're totally trying to force tanks back into the meta slowly but surely. Predator. For those that use Predator, this is nice. The monster burn on the Hunter's Talisman effect no longer interrupts your Predator. So for those Hecarim players running out of the jungle, if they have that little bit, if they just done chickens or something, and they're trying to run out and park their Predator and no longer be interrupted, that's cool. Ultimate Hunter got a buff, which is awesome because it felt bad to take, but there was very certain situations you'd still take it in. Don't care about ARAM, don't care about Mac Client, your shop returns. The bug fixes I checked this time because last time I had missed a bug fix that heavily affected Renekton. Looked through these, none stand out to me as something people are going to throw a fit about. This one kind of stood out as something people might not have known that could have been pretty annoying. If Morgana died right as her Soul Shackle went off, the second half of it that deals damage, it would still go off, and it wasn't supposed to, so that's gone. Vi players, your excessive force will no longer fizzle. Apparently, Italia was scaling incorrectly. Conqueror not properly procs from pets. Yeah, so those are your badges, or your bug fixes. Here's the 2 chromas, it looks like, or the 2 skins. Do not care at all about this Dunkmaster freaking. This skin is dumb. I'm so upset. Give me a Dunkmaster Vi skin. Give me a Dunkmaster Zig skin. Give me a Dunkmaster anyone. J4. Give me a Duckmaster J4. Why is this a skin? And then we got. Wait, what is that? What skin is that? Is that supposed to be Volibear? Oh, that's his tree thing. Daisy, that's her name. Daisy looks cool. Why is Daisy built like a linebacker though instead of like a... Okay, anyway. That's the patch rundown, guys. Thank you so much for listening, watching. If you would, like and subscribe. If you have any things you think I missed, drop them in the comments. As always, my social media links will be in the comments or in the description, as well as a link to the patch notes. Thank you so much. See you guys later.